Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and Dragonflight patch 10.2 releases in less than 2 weeks from today. The update brings with it plenty of seasonal endgame content, even more improvements when it comes to gearing progression and open world activities, as well as a new set of class revamps, talent refreshers, and tier set bonuses, which will impact how every single class plays and performs when it comes to endgame content. But time is running out to settle in on which playstyle you're likely going to main for the upcoming season. This week's PTR build brings with it new class changes, featuring buffs and nerfs, which may have a significant impact on your potential main going forward. In today's video, I wanted to go over the most recent set of class changes, and note regarding the potential viability of every single playstyle featured in today's video. But right before we get into this most recent PTR set of changes, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do, so let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you want to get more regular content regarding Dragonflight 10.2 or any of the future updates going forward. Demon Hunters have been doing surprisingly well when it comes to the overall performance during the development of the PTR. Many have wondered if they will escape the PTR cycle mostly unscathed, and it seems that the most recent Demon Hunter nerfs help solidify their solid footing going forward, with the immolation aura damage slightly reduced by 8%, which has a much bigger impact for specs like Havoc with some of the new immolation interactions, as well as the slightest reductions to defensive bonuses such as Demon Hide. But apparently, Sigil of Flame damage as well as its duration saw increases, which benefits Havoc, but more importantly helps out Vengeance Demon Hunters, which allows them to better optimize their Sigil playstyle to deliver fairly competitive numbers within group dungeons. The Healing Mistweaver continues to get buffs after buffs over the last few weeks, with this most recent build hoping to better optimize their melee healing output. Most of their combat abilities, such as Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, Spin and Crane Kick, and even Feline Stomp, have seen significant damage increases, which results in better group-wide healing for the playstyle that's often popular within Mythic Plus dungeons. They even buffed Ancient Teachings of the Monastery so you can stack up to 4 times, which is actually kind of a big deal. Usually when playing a fist-wielding monk, your jabs gain 2 stacks of the Monastery buff, which helps you bank up a few Blackout Kicks, which can then be unleashed all at once. And usually it's not really worth over-generating the Monastery buff to reach 3 stacks, where most monks are recommended to jab and then kick with 2 stacks instead. But now you can jab twice and then send all 4 Blackout Kicks out at once, which allows for you to set up a big kick combo, which is fairly bursty, resulting in better burst healing for your entire dungeon party. Lastly, we have Essence Font, which has been mostly an ignored ability, but this time it gains a 40% healing buff, which is actually quite significant. Hard to tell how good Essence Font will be as a rotational skill going forward, but it may find some decent value within playstyles that focus on healing while maximizing mobility. Holy Paladins are seeing even more reductions as of this week, with the base healing now reduced down by 8%. The talent of Holy Prism isn't as significant of a paladin ability since the newest tier set doesn't support it, unlike the current one, but the talent does gain a 40% healing buff, which could make it more appealing. Finally, one of the bigger paladin nerfs comes in the form of Blessing of Sacrifice, which has seen a reduction in its defensive value, transferring only 20% of allies' damage back to you instead of the original 30%. Sacrifice is your one primary external that can be used to help save a singular ally, and with this change, paladins do lose a little bit of that protective value when it comes to utility within group situations. Then we have the class of Priest, where we see the healing discipline spec go through a roller coaster of changes. Initially, Disc was expected to see few nerfs, with the overall damage reduction, but an atonement healing compensation, as well as a buff to periodic damage abilities, which help push back against the initial nerfs. And just about everyone in the Priest community expected some sort of a reduction to a disciplined Priest further, as the spec has been able to hold quite a dominant position so far during PTR raid testing. But it seems that this recent build has come back to strike him down one more time, this time nerfing the value of Sins of Many by half, which is a significant change. Sins of Many increases Discipline Priest damage proportional to the number of allies empowered by the Atonement buff. The more allies it affects, the less damage that you do. This allows Discipline Priest to maintain quite high offensive power within dungeons, but then would scale down within larger group content, which would allow them to be more in line with every other healer. This direct nerf to Sins of Many is going to hit discipline from all angles when it comes to endgame content, but at least when it comes to dungeons, atonement scaling does improve within 5-man parties, which may allow disc priests to at least maintain some decent healing output without necessarily amplifying their damage. And besides discipline, Holy Priest healing defensive of Symbol of Hope loses out on 10 seconds of personal cooldown recovery, which is another knock at Priest raid utility. But at least the spec of Shadow sees some significant damage increases, from buffs to Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Apparitions procs, and Vampiric Touch by up to 25%, as well as another buff to the newest tier set, which does gain some more single target value. The spec of Outlaw Rogue, my current main, has found itself doing quite well over on the PTR, but recently you guys reached out to let me know that it's taken a bit of a nerf as of this week. So over the last few weeks, every single rogue spec saw a ton of bug fixing, where certain talent interactions that previously did not work on the testing realms now do, which naturally increases your damage output. So these recent nerfs are likely there to help counteract some of the more natural increases. Restoration Shamans have been out of the spotlight for some time during PTR testing. Generally, it is a fun class with a ton of group utility, but it often struggles to scale appropriately when it comes to endgame content. A smaller 3% healing buff and a tier set tune-up might not be enough to make it more popular than the other healers, but I hope they do end up landing in a decent spot heading into Season 3. Lastly, Arms Warriors are also making new gains with a buff to Mortal Strike and Overpower, increasing them by 10%. A smaller buff that does bring up their overall output a bit, with the early numbers and testing placing them somewhere in the middle of the pack. Hard to tell if this will be significant enough for PvE content or to make him as competitive as Fury, but these changes will definitely be felt within PvP. And for now, that's going to be the full list of class changes that recently went live over on the PTR realms, with many more adjustments likely to come as hotfixes over the next few weeks before the release of 10.2. I want to pass it off to you guys over in the comments down below. Have you settled in on which class are you going to main for the next upcoming season? Or are you trying to hedge your bets and pick a couple of different options and then make you pick once 10.2 officially launches? As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.